Hey guys, Mitch Bell. I am your host for Tall Tales with Taco Bell. Of course, all my Marine buddies call me Taco. If they call the house and ask for any other name, my wife considers it they must be telemarketers. Speaking of telemarketers, no, I'm just kidding. Probably one of the best salesmen in the world is a buddy of mine, lives just right down the road. We've known each other for many, many years through all of the different veterans related charities and organizations that we belong to. And it's cross pollinated into the DFW area is probably the hotbed for all outstanding veterans related issues. And if you're a vet and you land in DFW, good chance that you're going to find guys like Donnie that are going to help you set up a business. As a matter of fact, he has one of his badass seminars going on this weekend, and he's going to offer a couple tickets to some of our viewers. But without further ado, I'd like to bring Donnie on. Donnie Boivin, how are you, brother?
Oh, Taco, man, I'm so stoked to hang out with you, man. You're such a good. I gotta be honest, man. I love how much you give back to the veteran community. I mean, some of us don't do as much in the veteran space, man. But every time I'm around you, man, it's almost like you're preaching the gospel of veterans. So, dude, I commend the hell out of you for all you do, man, and I really respect the hell out of you.
Yeah, well, I got $20 here somewhere that I'll have to pay you.
Dude, you told me it was 100. What the hell?
Hey, if you say this, no, man, I really appreciate it because we were kind of talking earlier about how do you know you made a difference in your life, right? And I always joke with my wife, well, if more than 5 people show up at my funeral, then I probably meant enough for somebody
Well,
to
let's be honest. If
take
five
off
people
work to
show
go.
up at your funeral, they're going to be driving tanks. So, I mean,
Yeah, they'll be the tank drivers. They'll be the
right,
guys looking for the money for the maintenance.
right,
Hey, where's my $2, man? I want my $2.
right, right.
You know what draws me to you, Donnie, though, is you're very honest and you lay everything out there. And if you go through your Facebook feed or your LinkedIn feed, every week there's a positive post, but the post starts with failure.
Hmm,
And and a lot of people want to beat their chest and say how great I am.
hmm.
Where what I like about you is you talk about, you know what, I almost got foreclosed on my farm. I had the chance to go make money somewhere else, but I chose this path instead of working for somebody else. And that's what is really, makes me drawn to your collective story. Seriously, people go back and read your stuff, and it's not all roses at first, and then you start reading down. You're like, wow, man, this is motivating. If Donnie can do it,
I
I can
appreciate
do
that.
it.
Yeah, I mean, if I were completely honest, it hasn't always been that way. It took me going through some tough times to get there. I grew up as the ego guy that wanted to beat my chest, and I got really good at telling people how awesome I was without proving how awesome I was. I mean, I was through most of my career and everything. I could convince you I was a complete badass without actually have putting in the work. And what happened is, as I struggled so bad to build my own business, I
Uh-huh.
realized that false front was one of the biggest things that was hurting me. And once I started sharing kind of the dark side of building a business, man, people started leaning in. I'm like, all right, showing up as me and being completely truthful about the crap I'm going through
Yeah.
is literally the kind of roadmap that other people need. So I leaned into that hard.
Well, it's not like anybody gives it to you. You have to earn it.
Sure,
You have to
for
build
sure.
it. I mean, it's kind of like being a Marine. You don't get the title. You earn the title. So yeah, go back. As a young guy, you joined the Marine Corps. How many years did you spend total in the Marines?
I did 4 in the Clinton era, so I was in the, hurry up and wait, let's pull out all the gear and do 10 million inspections, so yeah, 95 to 90, or yeah, 95 to 99 was a
Yeah.
motor team mechanic. And I went in the Marine Corps because my oldest brother went in the Marine Corps. He did 24 years. Yeah, I did not have it in me to do 24 years in the Marine Corps. Yeah, I was a punk ass kid, a chip on my shoulder. And, I remember the day I stood on the yellow footprints and I went, oh crap, dude, I screwed up. I screwed up.
I got a picture. I got a picture of a young Donnie. Look at
There
that
it
guy
is. That's me
smoking a
and
cigarette in a van somewhere, maintenance van.
we're in Norway. We're doing Battle Griffin in
Oh
Norway.
yeah, yeah,
So that's
yeah. We
a
did that.
Connex box that we turned into a tool room.
And
So
was that you were East Coast then?
yeah, well, yeah, I was on Lejeune. I was on Lejeune. There's my brother there. So
Oh, that's
uh
awesome.
I was stationed on Lejeune, he was stationed in Buford, and we did the Marine Corps ball that year. It's the only time we
That's so
were
cool.
close to each other, while we were serving.
What lessons from the Corps did you bring out that you utilized in your day-to-day business down the road? I mean,
You
what
know,
was the
I
hardest thing?
I love telling people my parents were phenomenal. So a lot of my life lessons came from them. But if I took anything away from the Corps, it
Mhm.
was to be quick on your feet and figure it out. Because most times they give you a brass ball bearing and a freaking brick wall and say build a freaking Humvee out of it. And the ability to just figure it the hell out is one of the coolest skills that I learned out of there. Now I learned to drink a lot.
That's a good skill, especially in Norway, especially if you buy
Oh
the
my
first
god.
round in Norway,
Oh,
because every subsequent round, the price goes up as the night goes on to try to combat alcoholism. So they make it
right.
expensive to keep drinking, you know?
Dude, we did the 7-day mock war with the Norwegians, and in their hooch, they had their furnace going, but they also had a still right next to it. So we were drinking straight freaking Norwegian moonshine right off the, and then waking up the next day and supposed to be in our foxholes and everything else. I might have gotten a little trouble that night, but.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
Now, when you get out of the Marine Corps, it's not like you went to recruiting duty, so you got to go to Xerox, for the professional selling skills course. How did you get into sales? What was your gig?
It was a complete fluke. So luckily I was one of the lucky ones where my best friend and his dad had a heating and air conditioning company here in Texas. So I came out and instantly had a job,
Mhm.
which was great because I'm just a blue collar kid, no college degree or anything. And so I started off as a grunt for them. So I was the dude in Texas climbing under houses and up in these 120, 110, degree attics and crap.
Oh yeah,
So I realized quickly that I was not cut out to do that kind of work. So I was going to quit. And I remember pulling the work truck up in front of my boss at Jerry's house. And as I get out of the truck, he looks at me and goes, "Oh, that's the I'm going to quit face." I'm like, "You damn right. I'm done with this." As he goes, "Hold on. Before you quit, I need you to try something for me." I'm like, "Jerry, I got to tell you, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not doing this." And he goes, "Tomorrow, come back, show up in a polo, pair of blue jeans, dust your boots off. I'm going to hand you a bunch of brochures. I'm going to dump you in a neighborhood. I need you to go knock on doors. And if anybody will allow us to look at their system and we sell them something, I'll pay you a commission off of that." I said, "I'm in." He goes, "Wait."
yeah,
He goes, "I'm not paying you unless I'm like, "Cool. I don't have to climb up in the attic under the house." He's like,
yeah.
"Yeah." I'm like, "I'm in." So he would drop me off in these neighborhoods, put a cooler of water behind a bush, and my job was to go knock on these doors.
Right.
Well, 3 weeks of knocking on these doors, and I hadn't sold a thing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just knocking on these doors, people slamming on them. Well, somewhere around that 3-week mark, he didn't bring my cooler of water. He's like, "You'll be fine. Just suck it up and go out there and knock on doors." Well, it's 110 degrees here in a Texas summer, and it gets around noon, and I'm dying of thirst, right? There's nothing around. I'm
Right.
not going to randomly grab somebody's water hose or garden hose or anything. So I knock on the door. Lady opens the door, and before she can slam it, I said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. Can I just get a glass of water?" And she goes, "Oh my God, bless your heart. Come in here." 'Cause you could see I was just pouring sweat. So I sit at her table. She gives me a glass of water, and she's like, "Well, you're in my house. You might as well tell me why you're here." And I said, "Be honest, I don't know." And she goes, "What do you mean you don't know?"
Great sales 101. I love that.
Right. And I said, literally, Jerry drops me in the neighborhood, and I'm supposed to knock on doors. And if somebody will let us look at their unit, and we sell them something, then, I get some money." And she's like, "Well, that's it. Call them up." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, call him." I called Jerry. I'm like, "Jerry, you're not going to believe this shit." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "She wants you to come to the house." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, she wants you to come." So Jerry comes on. We do like this $100 maintenance thing on her house. And I made like a $5 commission, right? Something really, really low. But I promise you, for the rest of that summer, I had to
Yeah.
pee more than anybody than because every house I went up to, I'm like, I don't have any water. Can I just get a glass of water? In every house, I would just ask them for a glass of water, and that's how I totally got into sales. And I learned even back then, as long as you become a human being and not a sales guy,
Yeah.
people talk with you. People have great conversations with you. And that set a precedence for how I moved through most of the rest of my sales career.
Yeah. Well, you kind of started the hard way. I mean, nobody sat you in a classroom
Yeah.
to teach you PSS skills. Um, were there any books or anything that you on your own at night said, how do I get these people to even talk to me? Was there anything
No,
that,
I mean, my dad handed me Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill when I was about 14, but being a punk ass kid, I didn't read it till I was 22 or 23.
right?
And, that started me kind of down the self-help journey and learning and working on mindset and the likes. But I, I'm self-taught in sales my entire career. I never really nobody put me through a training. Nobody taught me anything. I just screwed up enough conversations to figure out what a good conversation was. And I think that the more I leaned into being interested in them, I just kept figuring things out. And I've run freaking a ton of just amazing sales careers, sold millions of dollars, but it all came from just pure tenacity of I got to do better than I did before and really lean into people as I'm talking to them and learn more about them. And you become a human being, you really care about people, and good things happen.
And what job led to from that led to where you got into teaching sales and eh,
So
things like that?
yeah, so I grew the heating and air conditioning company from a 300,000 to about a $3 million company and moved them into a commercial realm. And I was one of the jobs we did was for a local pharmacy, and I mean the district manager of that pharmacy when we were doing the install, he's like, "How the hell did you guys get this job?" He's like, "We got these corporate accounts and everything. How did you get these jobs?" And I said, "I called them, said hello, but you guys need." And so he was so blown away that the mere fact that this blue collar company was able to get this job. He said, "My company's hiring in St. Louis. Would you ever go to St. Louis?" I'm like, "Let's go." And so I went up to St. Louis, started selling, be part of a franchise sales team, selling pharmacies. And from there, I ended up coming back to Texas for my corporate downsizing.
Mhm.
We got bought out by Cardinal Health, and I bartended for a couple of years. I got hired out from behind the bar to sell commercial printing and built a multi-million-dollar division for a commercial printing company. And then we survived the '08, the '09 era. And then around 2011, I, you know, the economy was starting to rebound, but printing wasn't coming back. My wife and I said, all right, there's got to be something more out there. I'm not going to keep beating this. And I was doing a LinkedIn search just for what sales jobs were out there, and this sales training job popped up, and I'm like, I don't want to be a sales trainer, but I can sell. So I
Mhm.
submitted, and the guy brought me in, and we sit down, and the first words out of my mouth, I'm like, look, man, I don't want to train anybody. I said, I just want to sell. And he's like, good, I don't need a trainer, I need somebody who can sell. I'm like, we're in. And so I went to work for Sandler Training. That was 2011, and 2 years into that journey, my boss, who later became my business partner, looked at me and said, "Man, you can't make any more money." I'm like, "What do you mean I can't make any more money? I'm selling my ass off here." And he goes, "Why? That's the problem." I said, "How is that a problem? I'm selling." He goes, "No, you don't understand. I don't have capacity to train anymore." I'm like, "Okay, how's that my problem?" He goes, "If you want to make more money, you're going to have to start training." And I'm like, dude, I told you I'm not a trainer. I didn't sign up to be a trainer. I
Yeah.
needed to be. And he goes, well, here's what it is. You're capped here because I have no capacity. So if you want more money, then you got to start training. So At that point, basically, I almost went back to zero income because all my accounts basically I moved over to him
Mm.
so I could go gunslinging. And I went crazy because now here I was just a guy who could sell, and now I'm supposed to teach other people. I picked up corporal 3 months before I got out of the Marine Corps, and literally, you know, I had never led anybody. I'd never managed anybody. I didn't know how to freaking train anybody. And now here I am selling these, 40 million, $100 million companies and their sales staff that not only am I going to sell the deal, but now I'm the guy that's going to teach your salespeople. And that was a big transition. That was a huge mental upgrade for me.
Sure, but you did it, and you were successful.
Well, I had no choice. I mean, I wanted to eat, and I had to sell so I could train. Um,
And
but
what led you out of there?
so I thought Sandler training was going to be my retirement plan. I really thought the success I had there, supposedly I became one of the top sales trainers in the country. I'm not really sure what that means, Taco, other than I'm really good at flapping my gums in front of a room.
Mhm.
And I really thought that that was going to be my thing. And Sandler's a franchise setup, and in my franchise, I was planning on buying out my then business partner out, but we went out to dinner. Now you gotta remember, I'm a blue collar kid. I didn't even know you could start your own business, be an entrepreneur. That's just not a thing in my family. You go get a job, you work for other people.
Right.
And so I've been listening to a lot of not a lot of YouTube videos and stuff. Gary V, Tim Ferriss, and all these guys are popping in my head. And during a fateful dinner, me and my then business partner went out to, and we were celebrating, the years of success, how much money we made. And during that dinner, my then business partner said something that I'll never forget. It was a life-changing moment for me. And he looked right at me dead in the face and said, Donnie, thank God you're my retirement plan. Now, I got to be honest. He said it completely out of love, man, and he really did. And I took it out. I mean, the first words out of my mouth were, "Dude, it's been my honor. I love working with him."
Yeah.
It was the truth. He's a hell of a guy. We're still great friends, you know, and we still talk every once in a while. But, you know, at that moment, after that moment, I went out and sat in my truck. And as I'm sitting in my truck, dude, I look in the rearview mirror and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You
Yeah.
were literally somebody else's retirement plan. And then I looked over my entire life and I've always been somebody's retirement plan. And I gave myself a hard conversation at that moment. And I said, all right, here's where you're at, dude. You've built a phenomenal life. My wife and I bought a dream farm out here in Azle. I built a second house on the property for my mother-in-law. To some standards, we were living a great life. I
Mhm.
said, dude, you either live that life and turn off the dreaming because that
Mhm.
dreaming is kicking your ass. You live that life and enjoy it, or you get in the game. You can't do both. You
Yeah.
can't keep dreaming. And I couldn't turn off the dream. So 15 days later, I walked away from it all. And that started the journey of the hardest, most difficult portion of my life ever.
Oh, man. That's and you had and I remember the, story about the non-compete clause.
Hmm.
So you probably didn't even remember you signed this thing.
Not a clue.
And,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm gonna go out and start my own thing." Oh, contraire.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah, literally 15 days from that moment sitting in the truck, I walked away from it. Within 24 hours, two of Sandler corporate office, it wasn't my business partner, it was a corporate office. Two of their corporate attorneys showed up in my farm with the sheriff and they served me my non-compete papers.
Jeez.
And, I totally did not even remember signing the damn things. So I grabbed my attorneys and like, let's go to war. I mean, I'm okay battling this out. And my attorney's like, no problem. We'll take care of this. A week later, my attorneys call me up and they're like, we got a problem. I'm like, what's with the no problem? We'll take care of this too. Now we have a problem. And they
Yeah.
said, look, man, you're going to win this. Yeah, absolutely going to win this. But you need to know you're going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And it's going to take you 2.5 years probably because they're going to bury us in paperwork to run this out. My non compete was for a year,
Oh, you could
right?
do yeah, you could
In
do
my
in
head,
prison, you could do prison for a year.
Right, right. In my head, that was the exact thought process. I thought, well, hell, I can do anything. I can sell anything. And
Yeah.
so I started off, I could not talk about sales, sales training, business development, sales management, anything in regard to sales. That was my entire life. That's all I knew. I mean, I had 20 years of selling at that point, and I didn't know anything else. And now
Time
I
to write a
was
book. They didn't say you couldn't write a book.
right. I should have. I didn't
So
think
so
fast enough.
yeah.
You
So you
know,
end up writing a book,
I
and
did. I did.
I won't say the title. You say the title.
So here, we'll do it even better. I got it sitting here. So, whoops, there it is.
I love
That
that.
tells the entire story, so it's fuck your
Exactly.
focus. But, you know,
Fork to focus. I love it.
forward to focus,
Only a Marine could come up with this great title.
well, actually, it was my clients that came up with it. I literally put that out to, all of my clients. I have some private groups off of, all the social platforms where I have a huge community of all our clients.
Right.
And I said, "Hey, I wanna tell the story of my journey of almost losing everything to building a business and how other people can follow that path,
Yeah.
but I need a good title." And they came up with a couple, then one gal pops in, "Fuck to Focus," and all of a sudden, everyone's like, "That's the title. That's the one." I'm like, "Alright, there it is." So,
Oh, that
yeah.
I mean, it is perfect. It really is. And there are a couple of people that are listening. I invited them into the conversation tonight, that are listening, and hardest working guys I know, right? So I've got Scott Gross, who is a buddy of mine. He owns one of the armored vehicles down the road. He just left as a vice president of one of the largest electrical firms in the DFW area. They did D terminal. I mean, that's the
That's huge.
scope that they
Yeah,
do, right? And after 20 some years, and he's right now looking inwards and trying to find his next mission in life. And I told Scott, you need to listen to this. You got to talk to Donnie, as well as I was coming back from an event down in the hill country, down past Hamilton. And if you could see, I lost a
oh,
tire there, right?
yeah, that
Well,
one hurt.
it did. And the thing that sucked was it was the second one. So now I have two spares, but I had already used my spare up, right? So here's Mitch Bell sitting on the side of the road, sun's starting to go down, out of airspeed ideas, literally 5 miles or 7 miles out of a major town. And I'm calling everybody on a Sunday, and everyone's like, beep, leave a message. We'll get
Right.
back to you on Monday. And I got a hold of one guy, and Dale Patrick right there. I'm gonna throw his stuff up.
That's awesome.
Dale's Tire Service. So Dale literally came out. He goes, "Where are you? What size tires? I got to go to the shop. Just getting done eating, but I'll be out there in just as fast as I can."
That's
And he
awesome.
got out there and he just and changed the tire and did the whole thing for me. And I've never been more impressed with the work ethic of this guy. And we were talking about if he had a couple tickets, if there were three people that I could invite to go to this, it would be Dale.
Done.
It,
I'll
it
take
would
care of them all. I'll take care of them
it would
all.
be Scott. It would be Dale, and you know, it's just incredible guy. So he was just talking about how we've stayed friends since that night. We communicate, and he was talking about how he could break into the Chamber of Commerce and how hard it is. He's not getting these contracts or this or that. I think he could definitely use some
Uh,
help to grow the
Taco, you
business.
have my word that anybody you say needs a ticket, I will personally take care of them, make sure they show up. We'll take care of them. We'll embrace them like family and bring them in. And
Oh,
I, and
that'd
I
be
truly
awesome.
mean this, bud. You've been an amazing dude to watch your journey and story unfold, man. And I'll always say, I don't take care of the veteran community probably like I should. You have always done that, and I've respected the shit out of you for it. So, anytime I can do that for anybody my word, my honor, I will take care of them.
Well, then that I appreciate that. I really do, because the thank you that you're going to get is one of those thousands that you've helped out there, and you and I are both the same. I'll take a phone call. I'll help. I'll go meet you. I'll do whatever it takes to help you if you have issues, if you have problems, or if you want to do this, you know, it is what it is, only because I would hope that somebody would do that for me.
Well,
And
including you'd go on a freaking junk TV show to help return a purple heart to somebody on a TV show. I mean, that happened.
yeah, that's funny. When you've made it in life when you go down to Brazil and you go into your hotel room, throw your suitcase on the little carrier, pull the sheets back, dump the uniform, and you're sitting there channel surfing, and all of a sudden you see American pickers, and you're on it in speaking fluent Portuguese, and you're going, "Wow, man! I didn't realize my
Brilliant.
Spanish sucks, but my Portuguese is pretty damn
Great.
good."
Were they at
Yeah.
least close to your voice? I mean, or was it like some high pitched thing or something?
Oh, no, it was. I don't even know what my voice sounds like, but it was like "Jabelabilismo tubianso," blah 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 blah, or whatever. It's kind of a
That's
sexy
so
language,
awesome.
but
That's so awesome.
that was fun. That was a neat
Yeah,
opportunity. And
but if those guys are seriously, if they're listening, you can either send me an email at donnie@donnieboivin.com. You can send me a DM on any social platform,
oh,
or
you know
Taco,
what?
if you want to send me their names, whatever. I will make sure that they can join us at the summit.
I actually got this too.
Yeah.
Want information on starting business tech success? Did I get that right? 817-318-6030.
Yep.
And there you go, DonnieBoivin.com.
You know what, Taco, because I know you can adjust it on StreamYard. Will you go ahead and put my email address up there, Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com. Or guys, if you can just remember, so look at my last name on screen, Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com. Patrick, absolutely, I will take care of you, brother. You can come as my guest 3 days. So it starts, Thursday, Friday, Saturday here in Fort Worth. Come as my guest, brother.
Is it Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com?
That's it.
All right, I will get that up here just in a second. As we're sitting here talking. Hey, how do you like that? There we go. Write that stuff down. Yeah, much better.
And I'll make anybody that you recommend or listening a fun trade. So there's the book. If you go to Amazon and anybody buys 10 of these books, right? Just go buy 10 of them on Amazon. Send me a receipt of those 10 books to my email. I'll send you my personal calendar. I'll give you an hour of my time to help you work on, figure out if you want to start a business, anything like that. I will personally give you an hour of my time to help you go and figure out what that next move is. Buy 10 of these.
That's cool.
It helps me, right? Because 10 books helps me keep up in the ranks of Amazon. I mean, it's $40. The books are $3.99. But that constant buying,
I'd buy that. I'll buy that and hand them out. Actually, I'm going to bring them over to your house, get you to sign them, or you come over so we can drive the tank around.
I'm in. I'm in.
sign the books for me so I can give them out as signed copies from you. Now,
I used to live really close to you. I used to live off Boat Club Road, and I'd see
you
your
were
tank
over Lake Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
Because I lived on a random road because I was a random type guy.
Yeah, and then we moved out to the country. Then I had to get away. There was too many people there.
Yeah. Well, how about the podcast? You started podcasting 2 years ago. Now you are top 5.
Yeah, top. What are we like? Top 0.5% of podcasts? I don't know. We're one of the biggest podcasts in the Philippines. How's that?
How did you get hot in the Philippines?
I honestly, the Philippines, I don't know, but to grow the show, I've always been a walking billboard. So one of the things I did early on is if I got 5 seconds of your time, I would tell you that I have a podcast. And if you give me 5 more seconds, I'm going to tell you to break out your phone and I'm going to subscribe you to my podcast and say, send me, your takeaways from one of the episodes. And that constant kind of guerrilla style tactic of, hey, do you listen to podcasts? And if you ask somebody if they listen to podcasts and they're like, yeah. Then you ask them what shows, first words out of their mouth every time are like, Joe Rogan. I'm like, of course. And I'm like, what device you listen to? And, they're like Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. I'm like, do me a favor, pull out your phone. And they pull out their phone. I'm like, pull up growth mode, and they pull up growth mode, and they're like, wait, that's you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, subscribe to that thing. And they're like, cool. So they subscribe to it. And then I'm like, do me a favor, listen to an episode, and then here's my email address. Send me your takeaways.
Hmm.
And so they would send me their takeaways. And then when they do that, I'm like, cool, if you like that episode, go listen to this one and send me your takeaways. And if they did it a second time, I'm like, you dude, you're so awesome. You got to do me a favor. Tell one friend about this show,
Yeah.
and literally the audience grew the show for me because I just kept telling people, subscribe, give me your feedback. And dude, I get emails from the craziest of places of people who are like, episode whatever, this was a huge takeaway. Or every once in a while I get the one go. So on my show, it's me and my COO, Kevin Snow, who's a National Guard guy, and I'm a Marine, so I give him hell all the time.
Right.
And every once in a while, people just send me messages like, yeah, Kevin won that round, right? Kevin totally dominated you in that round. And for me, it's not about winning. I just love the fact that there's, this kind of movement of Team Kevin, Team Donnie. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. We play it up well. Yeah.
Who's your favorite guest? I know it's hard. It's like which
Well,
one's your favorite kid, but what was your
so
favorite
I've
episode that you
had
were hitting on all six cylinders?
so I've had two podcasts, Success Champions, that took off, and we're not producing on that one anymore. Favorite guest on that one
Yeah.
would probably be Mike McAllowitz, who wrote the book Profit First. That dude is just a genuine good guy that wants to pour into people. And if you've never read Profit First, I 100% say go read that book.
Profit
Great.
first.
Yep. Profit First, Mike McAllowitz, and he'll teach you a different way to do the finances of your business, and it's brilliant. Because as small business owners, we don't tend to pay ourselves very well, and he teaches the way that you can pay yourself extremely well, and it's really really good. And he's such a good dude, such a good guy. Probably a favorite episode that's been on growth mode is the show on I don't know what episode number it is, but it's introductions are better than referrals. And Kevin and I go toe to toe on this one. So we both grew up in kind of the networking world, and he grew up and I grew up, and hell, I even wrote a book about it called Endless Stream Referrals. But we grew up in the space referrals.
Mhm.
Referrals are everything. And what I've come to learn is referrals are good, but introductions are 10 times better. So we duke it out this entire episode of, introduction versus referrals. And it's by far our biggest downloaded episode, because it's the idea of I very rarely am going to meet the end person that needs your services, but I'm damn sure going to run across a lot of good people that you need to meet that may help you get your brand, your message, or open a lot of
Yeah.
doors for you out there. So that was a lot of fun doing that episode.
Do you like do you prefer LinkedIn or which social media platform?
We built the business on Facebook, but these last 2 years with Facebook doing all their screwing shit up,
Mm.
we've moved our entire communities off of Facebook, and we have a private community. And I've moved most of my time on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just built for better conversations, and they're
Mhm.
continuing to upgrade. So that's where I play most of the. Show the book again. Somebody says, "Fuck to
Oh,
focus."
actually, I just pulled this.
Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go. So, um, but yeah, I play on LinkedIn the most, and every morning I put out a post that I pour my heart into, because
Mhm.
I continue to realize the more I share the dark side of my journey, right, the more I
Mm.
share just the tough moments, the tough times, because I think everybody is out there painting this sunny, beautiful world. And I fell a little bit victim to it, because there's guys like Gary Vee, which I have nothing against, but he was like, be an entrepreneur. Tim Ferriss, be an entrepreneur. Tony Robbins, be an entrepreneur. And all these people were saying it, and nobody was saying how hard it actually is to build a business.
Sure.
So I kind of went into it with these rose-colored glasses, like, I'm a sales guy, I can make this shit work.
Yeah.
And man, did I get a rude awakening. Um, eh, it's amazing how going from uh, oh, fair enough. I love that, Fahim. I love reading the comments. Sorry, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Fame's awesome.
so what I've found is, I put out a post on LinkedIn today that really talked a lot about, you know, I really walked through a lot of my sales career wanted it handed to me. I was always looking for the shortcut. I was always looking for the easy way of doing things. And what I've learned running my own business is anytime I look for the shortcut, I literally stop the learning process because learning happens after you get punched in the face.
Hmm.
You go out, you try something, you screw it all up, you get jacked in the face, and you're like, well, that sucked. You do it again, you get jacked in the face. You're like, well, that sucks. You do it a third time, you learn to duck, and you catch an an uppercut. You're like, well, that sucks. Then you learn to duck the uppercut. Now you catch a hook. But the whole process is about knowing you're gonna get freaking jacked the fuck up going into it,
Right.
but going anyways. And it's not about failing. It's about doing I love this concept of manufacturing hard times because if I look for it to be easy, I don't learn.
Right.
But if I look at the things that I don't want to do because it may seem hard, it may seem difficult, and I look at that and like, all right, I got to manufacture, I got to get in that thing, I got to do that hard time because that hard time is going to get me where I want to go. And that's been an absolute game changer in my life.
Yeah. It was always the coach would say, "It's not how you fumble the football. It's how you recover."
Right? That's a
Yeah.
great phrase.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, God, I heard that so many times in wrestling, and I know you were a wrestler once.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. Oh, you got that picture. That was a young damn kid. Go ahead. Go ahead. Look at that.
What were you like, 98? Were you a
Yeah.
98 pounder?
Oh no, I probably. So I'm like 6 years old in that. So we're in
Yeah.
Kansas in the heart of wrestling country.
Yep.
And both my brothers are these corn-fed dudes that were wrestlers, and I was just fucking pipsqueak. And I was so tiny that they didn't have other wrestlers in my weight class. So I was wrestling kids like two times, 2 or 3 pounds
And your
or whatever
brothers.
class. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I always love wrestling because I did that seventh and eighth grade, junior high. I go to public school for the first year, and I'm just getting my butt kicked. And then ended up, mom and dad, I want to go to Annapolis to the wrestling camp and get better. So I went to Annapolis, and then I went to Iowa. And wrestling is such a it's up to you, right? You've got to have your heart to make it through the three periods, and there's you contribute to the team's win, but there's nobody there that you can
yeah, there's
blame.
no excuses. I mean,
There's no excuses. It's all on you, and that's what I loved about wrestling. I love that across country too. And what's funny is going to Iowa. Hell, Iowa was harder than OCS in the Marine Corps.
really.
Yeah, oh, in my mind, and I'm like, and I paid for this. I paid for this abuse. You know, it was horrible.
Well,
But
that's exactly what I tell myself building a business. When it gets really hard,
yeah,
I'll start laughing because I may get a little Eeyore on myself, like, dude, this is so tough. And then I start laughing. I'm like, you dumbass, you chose to do this. You chose to choose this hard damn life. You can't Eeyore out. This is 100% your fault for
right.
doing this. So let's get back in the game. Let's, and go another round. Don't Eeyore out on this damn thing. And it's been a cool way to get me out of a rut a couple of times. This is tough. It's really tough.
Well, I saw Ted Studdard is coming
Mm.
out.
Oh, you know Ted?
Oh
Colonel
yeah,
Ted?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, he's
yeah,
a good dude. So I just recently met him. I met him. I forget who introduced me to him, but man, he's a good dude.
yeah. So he was our CO at Eighth Marine Corps District when I was
God, I can't
Reserve
wait to tell
Support
him that
Officer.
that I know Taco. That's gonna be a fun conversation.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He was going to try to get together with Scott Casey and myself and a couple other guys from back in the day, and he just sent a message out and goes, "I think time wise, I'm not going to be able to do it."
Yeah, he just told
Um,
me the same.
yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, I'd love to have him
but
out here.
he just retired from Home Depot as well. So and good for him. he just got a huge ass contract to work with a couple of clients doing the new gig. So, you know, but he's a good dude, man. We had a great
Yeah.
conversation getting to know him.
Yeah. Obviously, he didn't sign a non-compete clause.
Yeah, he was smarter than me. He was smarter than me.
Oh man. So what's your next project after this? I mean, I know I'm catching you just days before and you've got
Yeah, we
a
go
million
tomorrow.
things to do.
Yeah, we go tomorrow to set everything up. You know, we launched the networking groups, and I don't know how you measure this, Taco, but they're telling me that we have the fastest growing networking organization on the planet. We've opened up 55 chapters across the US. We have 23 more opening. We've got 3 chapters in Canada, with a fourth one on the way. We're getting ready to open up in the Philippines. So
Did you do the networking thing over in South Lake? Was that you?
no, I'm working on a chapter, but it isn't up and launched yet. But here locally in Fort Worth, once upon a time, I ran a ton of networking groups, from the Marine Corps groups to I ran 11 networking groups for the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce. I had 6 of my own, plus the Marine Corps, networking group. And when I launched my company, I tried to run away from the networking idea altogether. I'm like, I'm not going to run a networking company because anybody who teaches networking is just some broke asshole that doesn't know how to sell. And so, I mean, look, it's networking. You walk up and you say hi to somebody, and cool, hey, look, we're networking. So I could sell, so I didn't want to be associated with those guys. And, so for a long time, I was staying as close to the sales side of thing and teaching sales. Well, in the first year we were doing the Badass Business Summit, I'd rented out the Hearst Convention Center here in Fort Worth, and I had 23 speakers flying in from around the world. We'd sold out the event, and we were 2 weeks away from having our first ever Badass Business Summit. And the mayor of Hearst calls me and says, "Hey, if anybody shows up for your event, we'll arrest everybody on site." COVID. It was
Oh.
April of 20. And so, here we
And you've got
were.
contracts in place and
Oh,
everything.
dude, we'd spent a ton of money. We had, and so we had to make the call, I'm not getting everybody arrested. So and we still did it in September under tremendous amount of pressure, and they really reduced our size and all of the crap. But that the day we decided to postpone, I reached out to my team and I said, guys, look, we're going to be fine. Most of our businesses is online. So we're going to survive this storm. But I said, but you got all these businesses that are moving online, man. It took me 2.5 years to build a legitimate, online business. I'm like, these people don't have 2.5 years. I got 30 days to go from I've been an in-person type networking company and now I got to do crap online. I'm like, we got to come up with something to help.
Mhm.
And 3:30 that morning, like you do, I bolt out of bed, scared the crap out of my wife, and she's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, babe. I got a business idea." And she's like, "Well, write that shit down and roll over, would you?" Uh,
I love
and
your
then,
wife.
oh, dude, she's a beast. And I fired a message off the team and I said, "Hey, we're going to launch networking groups." And then that following morning, I looked at, Elizabeth, my wife, and I'm like, "Babe, I don't want to launch these networking groups." I said, "We're going to, but my heart's not into it." And she's like, "Why not?" I said, "Because all these people that teach networking and do these networking groups are just a bunch of broke people that don't understand how to sell, how to build business." I said, "I don't want to be." And she looked at me, and pardon this talk, I'm going to say it the way she is. She goes,
Yeah.
"You're a fucking idiot." And I'm like, "How am I an idiot?" She goes, "Why don't you become the guy that changes how the world networks and fix everything that people hate about networking?"
Yeah.
Oh, shit. 7 days later, we launched, and it's blown up to where we are now. And seriously, I can't be more blessed that we've done as well as we have. But man, at the end of the day, all I want to do is pour into people, help them get where they want to go. I mean, everybody who starts a business has this idea of freedom, and
Mhm.
everybody's saying, get in the game, start a company. My biggest ambition, my biggest purpose in life is to teach people how to actually get and build to business freedom, and everything we do is put in that regards. So
That's
it's
amazing.
been fun to build.
Well, that's going to be something that if Scott is not on here right now, I'm going to kick his butt, and he will watch this. But this, and he's talking about, well, I'm thinking about going off in this direction, and I
Dude,
know.
tell Scott if he's watching or not. Tell his ass to freaking get with me. Come to the summit. Get with me. I
Yeah,
promise you that with pure love, I'll beat the shit out of you from a pure love perspective to say,
yeah.
all right, let's create something. Let's build something. Let's quit chasing your tail. Let's get after it.
Now, do you know Charlie Zinger by chance? He was Ross Perot's HR hiring guy,
Okay.
recruiter, and Ross Perot stole Charlie from the Marine Corps. He was a OSO over there in Dallas, and Ross Perot somehow they met. Whatever happened at an event, and Ross Perot said, "Why don't you get out of the Marine Corps?" And I think Charlie was a Cobra dude in Vietnam, and he goes, "Get out of the Marine Corps and come work for me." Let me tell you something, son. I was Naval Academy, and let me tell you something. So he goes to work for Mr. Perot, and he comes into the Marine Metroplex, our meetings, our
Yep.
group, and he's been a part of that. He doesn't attend as much. He's a pretty busy guy, even retired from the pros. Um, but when it looked like my company, my airline was going under, and you know which one that was,
Yep.
I thought, well, maybe I better start looking for a job. And at the time, flying jobs were not readily available, especially in my mind. If the airline goes under, there's an excess of 15,000 pilots all looking for a job as well.
Right. Right.
So what am I going to do to better myself, put bread on the table? And so I called Charlie up. I'm like, Charlie, sir, would you be willing to mentor me on this? And Charlie, being the Marine he is like, meet me at this restaurant, buy me lunch, and I'll tell you everything I know. Bring your laptop. Do you have a laptop? I said, yes, sir. He said, bring your laptop. This restaurant has free Wi-Fi. So we go to some restaurant over in Grapevine, open the laptop up, and he goes, are you on LinkedIn? I said, yes, sir, I have an account. He goes, let me see it. So I pull it up, and it goes, 5 people or six people, right? It just had a goofy photo of me. Yeah. And he goes, all right, first things first, we got to beef this thing up. Okay. Well, I don't understand. What is LinkedIn, like Facebook? Because I never get on it. And he's like, no, no, no. LinkedIn's for professionals. Facebook's for all the cat videos and politics and stuff. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to send an email out to every single person you know, and you're going to invite them to link up on LinkedIn. And so if they're on LinkedIn, you'll get in there. And then the whole thing that I liked about LinkedIn is networking. Is I want a job at your company, but I don't know you. So I get on there and I pay the premium or whatever, but I go and I find who works at Donnie's success company. And I look up and it goes, oh man, Ted Studdard. He's been working there 7 years. And oh, Ted Studdard's connected to the HR guy at Donnie's company. Hey, and then my buddy over here, Scott Casey, knows Ted Studdard from the Marine Corps. Ooh, hey, and sometimes that works. Hey, Scott, do you know this guy, Ted? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We were in 214 together, artillery. Oh, no kidding. Can you do an intro? And that's where I find the positive influence of that one platform,
For sure.
LinkedIn. And
For
so
sure.
in mine, it says, I feel like my forte is connecting people with people. And that's, because somebody will call me up and go, hey, do you know? And I'm like, let me get in the Rolodex and start looking through the contacts. And so
Well,
every contact.
between you and Jeremy Spann, I think you guys know everybody in DFW. I'm just saying.
No. Hey, Jeremy got a ride in the back of an F-18, okay, with the
Did he
Blue Angels.
really?
Yeah,
Fuck.
that tells you the Jeremy spear of
Right,
influence.
right.
Me, I'm like the grunt dude that you call because you need me to hump the speakers into the arena,
Right.
But no, it's I do like that. I do find that as a great way for people to get connected.
For sure. For sure.
We got this thing RTAG coming up in October, and it's the largest military charity aviation charity. So if you were a enlisted guy, grunt who always wanted to be a pilot, we have an E2A program. If you're a mechanic, you want to be an airline mechanic, we can put you in those programs. You want to be you're a helicopter pilot, you want to be fixed wing, we get you coordinated with the folks and you go get your ratings, and they're off in the airlines. As a matter of fact, I had a guy last night in the sim who got hired at American 3 years ago, and now he's going to be a captain in the next bid run, which blows me away because it was 16 years before I could even seniority wise get it. Now this guy,
That's so awesome.
we're losing 800 guys a year for the next 4 or 5 years. He's just rapidly his seniorities
How
accruing.
can I support you in that?
The RTAG, we'll have to figure that out. This is actually in 5 years. The conference last year was in San Diego. It was the only in-person conference because a bunch of Army warrant officers are like, screw you guys, COVID,
Yeah.
we're going to do this. They had it at the convention center in San Diego. They had 2,000 highly qualified, motivated guys in interview suits, briefcases, resume in hand, standing in line. And they got it. This time we've got almost 5,000 folks
That's
coming
huge.
to Fort Worth Convention Center for this year. It's getting bigger and bigger. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. These guys are doing
Let me
pretty
know.
good.
Yeah, let me know how anything I can do to support, and we'll put the team behind it.
Yeah, God, that'd be awesome to connect, find a way to connect you guys together. But it's one of those things you support. Why do you do so much? Why? Well, because you know what? Came home from the war as a whole person. There are a lot of people that didn't. So I would hope that somebody would take care of my wife or myself and teach me to fish. Um, build fish for forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And learn the business. Now, for you, what is your takeaway? Your number one takeaway for a person that's in and working a business? What would you tell that person? You're going away thoughts
Yeah, and
saying,
it's really, really simple for me. Every fear that pops up as you're doing the thing
mhm,
is the universe saying go that direction. And anytime you ignore that fear, I'm not talking about the fear of jumping out of an airplane or, doing crazy shit. I'm talking about, you know, go talk to that person or reach out and do that thing. Anytime that fear pops up, that I'm not good enough or anything that pops up, go do that thing because that's the exact thing the universe is telling you to go do. In
mhm,
addition to that, stop looking for the easy button. Most of us want to find the shortcut, the hack, the tip, the trick to make things work.
mhm,
Don't look for the shortcut. Manufacture hard times where you've actually got to go do the hard things because the evolution that we need to make to go to the next level comes after getting punched in the face, and you've got to go do the hard things, and the more you do the hard things and learn to duck, the more you can level up, go further, and do just more amazing things. And don't wish it was easier, wish you were better.
That's great. I love it. And what is your favorite book? Let's say military book, because everyone's going to ask you what leadership stuff. But what's your favorite
um,
military book that has the leadership stuff in it?
there's a book, and gosh, I wish I remember the author's name, but it's called Cooks and Bakers, and it's about a literally gosh dang it, the HQ cooking headquarters during Vietnam, and there was literally a platoon of a bunch of cooks and bakers,
Mm,
and the whole book is about they were cooks and bakers and the front line fell, and as it fell they literally picked up pots, pans, anything they could and went to battle.
yeah,
And it's a great freaking read, and it's all about, from being Marines, we're riflemen first. It's the
right.
entire idea. I don't care if I got a freaking spatula, I'm coming after your ass. So but it's called Cooks and Bakers. I don't remember who the author is, but from a military perspective, it's a great damn read.
I'll look that up. Cooks and bakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the books I have it on digits that I airdrop to people is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Great book.
That book, we'll read that once a year, whether I need to or not, just for GP, as how to get along with people. Truly, that is probably one of the most well-written book. Dale Carnegie's book is timeless, considering it was written back in 1908 or something,
For sure.
1919.
Yeah, it was back to, I mean, if you want to even go a little crazy, you got Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, brilliant read. Um, and then Ed Milet, who's come to fame recently, wrote a book called The One Thing. Haven't read the book, in full disclosure. I watched an interview he gave, and he was talking about the book, and I I think I got the Cliff Notes version of his book by him saying this, and what he says is, in every generation, there's one person in that family that breaks the mold and
Mhm.
changes the trajectory of that family for generations to come. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, fuck, that's me. He's talking to me. And I think if more people would truly become, the name of my company is Success Champions. If more people would become the champion of their own success, they
Mhm.
would be that one. They'd be that one that would change the trajectory of not just their family, but generations to come. And I think that's huge.
Well, looking on our list of comments and stuff here, I can tell you that Fahim, he was an interpreter for the Marines and came over to the States. Super, super successful. He is actually out in Hollywood and he's written a book. And so Fahim is a fighter. And I'll tell you, Patrick. All right, Patrick says I will be there.
Beautiful, Patrick. I got you squared, brother.
Yep. And Patrick, his email is, I just added that into the comments. So if you look in the comments there um, on Tall Tales, there it will show you the his email. So drop him an email, Dale Patrick, friend of tacos, and he's going to take care of you. All right.
Yep.
And don't all you other guys try to get in on this stuff, man. We're just hooking Dale up. The rest of you can buy a ticket, damn it. Oh man.
No.
Well, dude, I owe you a beer, and I look forward to having you and
Oh,
your
brother,
wife
you don't know me
come over
anything,
to the
man.
house.
This was such an honor to hang out with you, man. I was stoked when you asked. Truly, truly have a ton of respect for you, man. Seriously. Guys, if you've listened to us this far, do Taco the hell of a favor and tell other people about Tales with Taco, man. Help share the love of this. This dude's got so much passion for the veterans out there. Freaking support him, tell other people about what he does, lift him up and tell other people to get tuned into this shit. More people need to hear the shit come out of his mouth,
Appreciate that.
and the people that he's bringing to the table. God, help him spread the love. It'll mean everything to me and to him.
Well, no. I don't want to get. I don't want to get. This is a hobby. I don't want to get so
Yeah,
big that
fuck yeah,
that
dude. We're
yeah
going
no.
big.
All of a sudden, it's the pressure of oh my god.
Nah, there's
Now
no
who am I going
pressure,
to
my
have?
friend. Nah,
This
there's no
is
pressure, brother. So the more you just interview the people that you want to talk to, that's a
yeah.
beautiful thing, right? There's no, and let me be completely honest. I have my own podcast. The big name guys don't mean anything. People want to hear the real stories,
Yeah.
right? They want to hear the journey of the people they've never met before. Everybody's heard the big guys' names. You
Yeah.
keep doing it just like you do. You just keep carrying it on like you're carrying it on, and it's gonna work, dude. There's no, you need to get the big guys and all that, man. Just keep pouring into people like you're pouring into people, and don't change.
Well,
It's gonna
you're gonna see
grow.
Dale because I told Dale weeks ago I really wanted him on the show. Well, why do you want me on the show? And I go because I've honestly, if I had 10 Dales when I was in the Marine Corps, I'd be a friggin' general. I mean, if I had 10 guys like that that could go with me through every command, I'd be a general,
Yep.
and he'd be a sergeant major, or we get him into, the college route and make him an officer. But yeah, if I had just 10 of those guys, hardest working guy I've ever met. And, his life has not been easy. And I'm just very appreciative of him, his dedication, his work ethic. So we as a country are failing when, Mike Rowe says it the best. You
Yes.
need to do the blue collar workers need to be out there. You got to have all those folks. And we're gender studies majors. We have all these people coming out in an entire generation of kids that don't know hard work. I mean, I wanted to make money. So what I do in high school, I pushed Georgia buggies full of concrete. When we built buildings, when we started in the basement and then we worked up, eventually they would have the concrete chutes, and the crane would bring up just giant buckets of concrete, dump it into the chutes, and we'd run over there with the Georgia buggy, drop the concrete in there, run down our little paths of boards, and then dump it. And the guys were out there, with the vibrators and then smoothing it. And that was absolutely the hardest job I've ever had in my life. But it taught me so much in terms of working with people and dealing with people, that nothing was handed to these guys. These guys worked their butts off. And yeah. Anyway, hey, this is good.
Dude, oh, that's huge, brother. Blithedale, if I can help get you more books, let me know. If that's where they're going, let me know. Dude, is that Ray Navarro? Ray, you are a freaking awesome dude, man. I haven't seen that guy's name pop up in freaking years. Fucking good to see you,
Yeah,
brother.
that's right.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a
Yes,
damn good
Mark got Mark Fitz. Oh yeah,
Nice.
thanks.
That's
I owe
awesome.
him 20.
That's
Ronald Norton, shortcuts, short circuits.
awesome.
And yep, a place like Norway must be wild with midnight sun. Well, unfortunately, I remember when we were up there, it wasn't. There was a couple of hours of daylight, but
Yeah, no, it
it
was a
was
dark.
pretty
I mean,
cold.
we were up on Trondheim a mountain, which I think is the tallest mountain in Norway, where they have the the caves and shit up there. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was cold.
Now Keflavik in the summertime was just incredible. You'd walk out and it's 50 degrees. It's really nice.
So we didn't make
They
it there. That's awesome.
Keflavik, they had the Mar Bar there. That place was awesome. And the Marines, they would run their PFT on you had to do it July 29th by June 29th, and then July 1st, right, for the new quarter.
Oh, right.
So they would one day they would run the PFT, then the very next day, July 1st, they would run it, and that covered them for the year.
That's awesome.
Because other than that, man, they had like 15-foot snowbanks in the wintertime, and that
Yeah,
was miserable.
we were in Trondheim, and they weren't giving us a whole lot of liberty. So me and a couple buddies may have broke out and jumped the fence, got a taxi cab into town. This may or may not have ever happened. And we found a bar in downtown Trondheim, and
Yeah.
the back wall of the bar was this neon light, light, and I'm like, God, that looks familiar. We find the one bar in Trondheim, Norway, that's got the Dallas skyline done in neon lights.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. The bar was called like the News. And then of course now we go out on the dance floor, we're trying to, impress the ladies. And all of a sudden, as we're dancing, I bump into a guy and I go to say, "Hey, sorry." It's freaking Gunnar Klein. My freaking one up there. He's like, "You didn't see me here. I wasn't here." I'm like, "I didn't see you, you didn't see me. We're out."
Oh man, those are good memories, military
Oh,
times. Hey,
God
I
bless.
tell you what, do me a favor, hang out for a second. I'll be
Yeah,
right
man.
back. All right. You can't thank you enough. Everybody, Donnie Boivin, go get his book and check out his seminar if you can. Thanks again, Donnie. I owe you.
My honor, brother.
Hoorah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I put all of his information out in the comment section, so feel free to pull those up, look up his stuff. Go on Amazon. You can pull up his book. I'll show it to you one more time. He has actually 3 books, but I put all of the books and links on Amazon in the comment section. So feel free to go pull those up and you can check those out. Guys, until I see you again, adios, hasta luego, sa wiedersehen, tschüss, sheshini, au revoir. Domo arigato gozaimasu, shinde kudasai, ciao, arrivederci, tashikur, assalamu alaikum, mahala, and das vidanya, do widzenia. And that's it. What am I going to do tonight? Which would you guys like? I think I'm going to do, I feel like an airplane one. Hold on a second. This will be our exit. Take care.